Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Whitney Heath, and I'm the president of the student body here at East Georgia State College. I would like to welcome you here today to East Georgia State College. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Angie Brown, and I'm the Senior Administrative Assistant for the Social Sciences Division. I also currently serve as a Staff Council President, and on behalf of the whole staff here at East Georgia College, we welcome you here today.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Alan Brazier, Professor of English and Director of the Center for Teaching and Learning. On behalf of the faculty, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this morning at East Georgia State College for the President's State of the College Address. And it's now my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce the President of East Georgia State College, Dr. Robert G. Bomer.
Good morning, everyone. We have some special guests with us this morning, and could I ask if Pete and Adalie Carell and Senator and Mrs. Luck Gambrell could please rise and let us express our appreciation for their being here. And also, some of our notable community leaders are with us this morning. Representative Butch Parrish, Mayor Charles Schwabe, our school and superintendent, Dr. Kevin Judy, and the head of our Chamber of Commerce and Joint Development Authority, Mr. Ken Warnick. Could you all rise and please let us express our appreciation for your being here. Thank you, Whitney, and all the students of the college, Angie, and all of the staff of the college, Dr. Brazier, and all of the faculty of the college. Thank you, Denny Key, and all of the members of the Board of Trustees of the Foundation for your sponsorship of today's events. Good morning, members of the East Georgia State College community. Thank you for the interest in the future of the community that this college serves. It is an honor to serve this community as president of the college. As I said when giving this address last year, my role as president is to act as steward of the treasure that is known as East Georgia State College. The purpose of today's address, which will be delivered each year, is to provide you with my analysis of the achievements of the college, the challenges and opportunities facing us, and the strategies that we will use to meet those challenges and seize those opportunities. Since I know by your attendance today that you have a stake and a strong interest in these topics, I'm going to make that analysis, I warn you in advance, in some detail today. Let me begin with a brief update about one of our recent graduates, Ben Mims. Perhaps this update will provide us with perspective about my comments today. Ben is currently attending the University of Georgia and working at a job for which he was recommended by my executive assistant, Mrs. Susan Gray. Ben plans to earn a bachelor's degree in English and pursue graduate school. We asked Ben, what is your best memory of East Georgia State College? Ben's response, just one. July 18, 2014, the day I officially left East Georgia State College. It was 5 p.m. on a Friday during summer semester and everything was quiet. I said goodbye to all of the friends I had made while working in the presidential suite, walked through the beautiful rotunda where I had often spent time reading, laughing with friends, and playing guitar. I passed the Learning Commons and the library where I would go in between classes to catch up with friends, headed out towards the stairway leading to the Humanities Division, where I spent hours upon hours talking with, joking with, and being mentored by the incredible individuals who instilled in me a love for learning and a desire to pursue knowledge and wisdom. People who were at one time merely teachers, yet I now proudly call friends. That moment brought back all the amazing memories I had made in my 2 years at East Georgia. And as I made it to my vehicle and drove away, I remembered the words of A.A. Milne, how lucky I am to have something that makes goodbye so hard. We also asked Ben, did East Georgia have a positive impact on your present situation? Definitely. The faculty members at East Georgia State College did an incredible job preparing me for the academic environment at UGA, and the staff helped me considerably in the transfer process. UGA is a massive school. Had I not attended East Georgia before UGA, I have no doubt that I would have experienced much higher levels of stress and anxiety and probably would never have developed the love for learning that I now have. Now, I think you can all sense this. I would probably be well served to simply say, enough said at this point, and conclude my remarks right here and right now. Ben's comments really do provide a sound answer to the question, what is the state of the college? The answer is obvious. The college is serving students like Ben in an exemplary fashion. But as you might imagine, I do have a few more things that I need to share with you. As I begin to write these remarks, I found that I needed to remind myself about the answers to two basic questions in order to focus my thinking. First, to know whether the state of the college is good, we have to know its very reason for being, its mission. So the first question is, why does this really special place, East Georgia State College, even exist? The college exists to provide access to a high-quality, affordable college education so that our graduates obtain a great start and a productive, fulfilling life. We all work each day to maximize the likelihood that each student will earn a degree, commit to a life of learning, and in turn, live a fulfilling life and contribute to the economic and social vitality of the region. Measured against that standard, I submit to you today that the state of the college is very, very good indeed. Second, the second question I need to focus myself is, why is a formal state of the college report necessary? Why is it important enough for busy folks like all of you to take time out of your very busy schedule and come to the Luck Flanders Gambrell Auditorium and listen? The answer is, of course, quite simple but very important. It's not because this oratory is going to be gripping and compelling, trust me. It's because East Georgia State College changes the lives of our amazing students. The students whose lives are changed then live in, work in, and serve our community, and they make it vital. If we're to continue the tradition of producing excellent graduates like Ben, it's essential that we convene periodically, as we are today, and reflect on the challenges and opportunities that we face. I know the importance of students like Ben to each one of you, and I know that's the reason you're all taking your valuable time to be here today. There's other students. Students like Wayne Beatty, who just about 20 years ago graduated from a place that was then called East Georgia State College. Wayne went on to earn 2 degrees at Georgia Southern University, followed by a PhD from the University of Sarasota. He recently retired as the Assistant Superintendent of Schools in Ware County. He gives credit for his long, fulfilling career to this college. Wayne says, being young, no automobile, with limited financial resources, would have made it easy to give up, but the people at EGSC, now East Georgia, didn't give me that option. Keeping graduates like Ben and Wayne in the front of our minds, now let's roll up our sleeves and get on with the hard work of analyzing the state of the college. I say hard work because the complexity of higher education has heightened dramatically in recent years. Sorting through this complex maze is really hard work. Yet institutions failing to do that, failing to understand the new normal and confront it directly, do so at their own peril. East Georgia State College is not going to fall into that trap. So let's describe the new normal. It's characterized by 2 issues facing institutions from Alaska down to Florida. It is characterized by declining state funding levels, coupled with students who are all paying a higher share of the cost of their education, borrowing far too much money, and accumulating too much student debt. And then the second character of the new normal is a trend towards declining enrollment. I warn you in advance, you're not likely to find my further description of this new normal to be what I'd call uplifting. So I think it's important that we keep pausing and coming back periodically to remind ourselves why we're here. For example, Ivy Cadle and Megan Williams. They graduated from East Georgia State College almost a decade apart. Ivy, a Swainsboro native, graduated in 1998. He went on to UGA, earned both a bachelor's and a master's. He then earned his law degree from Mercer Law. Ivy's now a successful attorney with Baker Donaldson in Macon. Recently, he was our alumni speaker at commencement. Megan Williams is also from Swainsboro. She graduated in 2010. She went on to earn her bachelor's and master's. She did it at Georgia Southern. She's now the owner of Nuts and Bolts Clothing, a very successful casual clothing company line that is based on agriculture, cotton. She sees farming as the backbone of this nation, and 10% of her profit goes to the Georgia Future Farmers Association Foundation. I know that all of you, like I do, feel a real sense of pride in the accomplishments of our many, many graduates that are like Ben, Wayne, Ivy, and Megan. Their successes remind me that we simply don't have the option of failing to navigate that distressing new normal that I described to you. We must understand it and confront it if more and more students are to follow the paths of these prior graduates. So let's get back once again to the hard work of navigating this new normal. I mentioned earlier that the first key piece of this new normal is declining state funding of higher education across the U.S. When I first started my career in higher education, and I might point out that was in another century, the common wisdom was that state institutions of higher education got their funding about 50-50. One half from state dollars and the other half from tuition dollars. State funding of higher education in the United States has now decreased to the point at which the reality is that we are now closer to 25% state dollars and 75% tuition dollars. In other words, a far greater share of the rising cost of education now falls on students and their families. Now, I apologize for this blinding bar graph, but it's important. As a window for our analysis of declining state funding, let's look at the national picture from 2008 through 2014. This blinding bar graph shows the change in per student state funding during that period. As you can see, Georgia's on the list at number 13. Adjusted for inflation nationally, state higher education spending has fallen over $2,000 per student from its 2008 level. That's real money. And it means that the cost of going to college must have been managed during this difficult period by spending cuts, tuition increases, or both. As you might readily guess, the lion's share of this burden across the nation was in fact financed by tuition increase. Tuition increases at four-year public institutions across the country has risen over $2,000 since 2008. But this increased funding has not fully compensated for the state funding cuts. In other words, the tuition hasn't fully made up the decrease in the budget. As a result, public institutions of higher education have also made deep spending cuts. For example, as demonstrated by these two slides illustrating changes in the college's state funding and tuition revenue, East Georgia State College successfully weathered a $550,000 budget cut in the last fiscal year. As state funding declined and tuition increased across the land, another troubling trend emerged: more student loan debt and higher rate of default on those loans. When I speak with the students and their families at student orientation, I typically show them this slide, and I urge them not to be this guy. I urge them to use student debt prudently, choose a major with care, have a financial plan, and discuss that plan with their family. I do that because student loan debt in the United States now exceeds $1.2 trillion. It's bigger than consumer loan debt. It's only second to mortgage debt. At the end of 2012, over 70% of graduates from four-year colleges had student loan debt. On average, each student owed about $30,000. Now, the default rate on this burgeoning student debt gives me even more concern than the sheer amount of the debt. Until the most recent reporting year, those default rates had climbed steadily over a period of years to reach a peak of 14.7% in 2012. That means that among borrowers in their third year of repayment in 2012, almost 15% of them defaulted on their loans. This declined, thankfully, by 1% in 2013, and that's good. But that's way too high to be sustainable in the long term in this country. So, what does the future hold? Because I told you that wasn't very uplifting. Does higher education face an inevitable future pattern of continually declining state funding, rising tuition, and student debt spiraling out of control? I don't believe that's our future, but it's going to take, and that's the reason for this discussion today, it's going to take some serious planning and effort by all of us to avoid that outcome. We do not have the luxury of sitting by and doing business the way it's always been done. We have to confront this new normal. Now, I'm optimistic. So what's the basis for my cautious optimism? Well, fiscal year 2014 reports already indicate that 37 states, including Georgia, have increased funding for higher education. In addition, state revenue collections increased over 5% in fiscal year 2014, and signs are positive that a similar increase will likely take place for FY15. That's great news. Nonetheless, higher education funding still remains below pre-recession levels, and there is little likelihood that we'll ever return to the highest point in the future. And most certainly, there is no national appetite for continually rising tuition to make up the difference. Okay, now, let's turn to the second key piece of the new normal, downward enrollment pressures. The downward enrollment pressures are particularly true for institutions that are similar to East Georgia State College, access institutions. As you can see from this chart, if we look quite a ways back into the past, there was a period of an enrollment boom in the United States. And it significantly increased tuition revenues to many institutions for many years, and they lived off of that. This, however, peaked in 2011. Now, what happened in 2012 and 2013 across the country was that there were significant declines. You can certainly see that here in the state of Georgia. This decline appears to have slowed at the present, but the enrollment boom that characterized higher education in the past, just like the high levels of state funding, is unlikely to return anytime soon. Although there's not a boom predicted, there is a significant increase expected between now and 2022. As you can see from this chart, it's slower than that dramatic increase we saw back before 2012, but it is a significant increase. So there really is a new normal, folks. Colleges and universities which desire to survive and thrive are going to need to adapt rapidly. As I describe this new normal to you today, please understand very clearly that my message to you is that East Georgia State College will survive and it will thrive. We must, because as we are continually reminding ourselves today, the impact of what we do on the lives of our amazing students compels us. Think about amazing students like Andrew Darley, Bo Gunn, Bruno Rodriguez. Andrew Darley was from Lyons, Georgia. He wrote our alma mater. He went on to graduate from the UGA College of Pharmacy, and he works there now. Bo Gunn graduated here at East Georgia State College, went on to Georgia Southern to earn his degree, and he's now our county administrator. Bruno Rodriguez graduated here in 2012. She went on and got her bachelor's degree at Mercer, and she's now in her first year at Mercer Law School. Now, getting back to the positive side of this equation, when I think about these students, it also reminds me that despite all of this national debate that we hear about, is a college education really worth it? The undeniable answer to that question is yes. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these numbers, but the bottom line is individuals that earn college degrees earn more, they're unemployed at lower rates, and they're less likely to live in poverty. And that gap between the earnings of students without a college degree and those with a college degree is increasing each year. Let's be honest with each other right now. You're thinking, my college education is worth it because at the very least, I am adequately prepared to endure all of these PowerPoint slides that I'm having to watch right now. So hang in there with me. You have the benefit of a college education, or you're getting one now. Now, for example, the Federal Reserve Bank pointed out recently that the average college graduate who pays annual tuition at $20,000, which is way more than students are paying at East Georgia, is likely to fully recoup their investment by age 40. After that, the difference in annual earnings means that this graduate is likely to earn almost $1 million more than their counterpart with a high school degree only by the time they retire. Okay, I recognize this long discussion of enrollment trends is wearing you guys down. That's exactly the point, isn't it? It's been wearing all of us down collectively for a number of years. Nonetheless, I'd like to point out that we faced it with good humor. We faced it directly. We kept the ship pointed in the right direction. We've got a strategic plan that guides our decisions, and despite this distressing new normal, we've had very good results. Let's take just a few examples. East Georgia State College recruited and communicated until we dropped last year, and our enrollment has turned the corner this fall. Now, that's not the case everywhere in the state of Georgia. Although our numbers are not going to be final until tomorrow, an increase of 2 to 3% over fall of 2013 is likely, and that's a big deal. Our Augusta campus opened in the fall of 13. We started with 100 students. We've got almost 350 this fall. We are an incredible bargain. The Department of Education recently released data which lists East Georgia State College in the lowest 5% of institutions of our type in the country based on the total annual cost of education. And our student loan default rate task force has kept its nose to the grindstone. As a result, our default rate dipped 3.5% this fall. We've actively participated in the University System of Georgia's Public-Private Partnership Initiative, P3. As a result, construction on our second residence hall will likely start in spring of 2015. Another 200-plus bed residence hall right next to our existing 200-bed residence hall. We're working right now with the best legislative delegation in the state of Georgia to seek approval of a nearly $5 million addition to our original academic building. As those of you who teach in it and work in the labs in it know, that's the original academic building, and it badly needs new classroom space and lab space. The legislature will address our proposal for this new space next spring, but we're encouraged by the fact that the Board of Regents has included this project on its recommended list. Our first bachelor's degree program, biology, is already growing and thriving. We celebrated our first 2 graduates last fall. Later this week, tomorrow in fact, we anticipate approval of our second bachelor's degree program at the Board of Regents meeting in Valdosta. It's a program intended to serve firefighters and emergency service personnel across the state. It will be a bachelor's degree in fire services administration. Our athletic teams, this year in only their 5th year of competition, continue to make us proud on the field and in the classroom. We reached an agreement with 4 other colleges in the University System of Georgia to significantly expand our study abroad program in Costa Rica. Students will have an opportunity beginning next June to spend a full month in Costa Rica, earn 6 hours of core general education credit, perform service in a community in Costa Rica, and all at a very affordable cost and at very high quality. Oh, and by the way, all of those things took place, as I told you, while the college absorbed a budget cut of approximately $550,000 in our operating budget. Also, it took place despite the fact that our rate of funding per full-time equivalent student is still substantially lower than our peer institutions. How is that possible? And as I look out at all of you, you know the answer to that. It was possible because the culture here is that it's all about the students. East Georgia State College faculty and staff and this community always put these students first, even when the times are trying. Consider these students who graduated from East Georgia State College and are now successfully attending other university system institutions in Georgia. I bet you recognize many of these faces. Rick McNeely, now attending UGA. He's going to complete a biology degree in the spring, and he's planning on dental school. Haley Chester, she's now at Georgia Southern. She's pursuing a double major. Her plans are to work with human trafficking victims in Georgia. Raven Hudson. Raven's attending UGA. She's a history major. minoring in art. She's going to become a high school history teacher. Every day, the professors, administrators, and courses from East Georgia State College enable me to progress at UGA, Raven says. I am a much better student with a foundation from East Georgia State College where I learned how to grow. Takia Sutton, she's now at Armstrong State. Takia is majoring in law and society. Austin Caruth, she's a former Miss East Georgia State College, and she's now a senior at Columbus State University, majoring in mass media with a minor in business. She plans to pursue a master's in public relations and corporate communications. Natalie Love. Natalie's a current student at Georgia Southern. She's majoring in mechanical engineering, and she works as a tutor for East Georgia in Statesboro. Trey Haygood. He led East Georgia State College Bobcats to the national tournament in Hutchinson, Kansas 2 years ago. Trey's now playing Division I basketball at Prairie View A&M. And Trey's going to go to graduate school after he gets his bachelor's degree at Prairie View. Tyler Wilson. He's now a junior at Georgia Southern, majoring in business administration with a major in finance. I saw last night on Facebook that Tyler has got a 4.0 GPA this semester at Georgia Southern. He's going to law school. Thomas Simons. Thomas came to East Georgia from California, where frankly he hadn't done very well in his early years of college. Thomas is now in the Terry College of Business at UGA, earning his bachelor's degree in business. Can we sustain East Georgia State College's positive direction in the new normal environment and continue to produce graduates like these? Yes, we must and we will. One reason that we will is the close match between the demographics of this county and the type of an institution that we are. Simply put, we're an institution that the state has charged with providing access to exactly the type of students who are in our grade and high schools in this region. Another really compelling reason is the leadership in our community. Our K-12 educators, our technical college colleagues, the leaders of the research universities in the area, and our community leaders are all on the same page here. It's not about the territory in this region of the state. It's about the students. In short, we can get things done that simply can't be accomplished in other parts of the state because everyone is focused on that objective rather than their own personal territory. Also, we're going to stay affordable at East Georgia State College. I mentioned earlier that the Department of Education has ranked us in the lowest 5% in the nation in terms of the annual cost of education. Look at this graph and look at the years on the left side before residence halls were in place. And then look at the years on the right after residence halls were in place. The cost of attendance, both before and after, is dramatically lower than any other university system institution, and it's relatively level. We've made it a priority to remain affordable. We recognize the importance of a dramatically expanded partnership with our K-12 systems to assure that students in the region develop the expectation of attending college and the tools to succeed in college, beginning at the time that they walk into kindergarten for the first time and continuing with the day that they graduate from high school. And I believe that because of our close relationship with the local school district, that dramatically expanded partnership will occur, and we have the perfect place in the community to do that with the Fulford Community Learning Center. We believe in our partnerships with Georgia Southern University in Statesboro and Georgia Regents in Augusta. We provide a point of access, we prepare the students, they transfer, they earn a bachelor's degree, and they move on and contribute as a member of the workforce. Everyone wins. Most importantly, we believe in our students. There are so very, very many students. Students like Heather Carell, who recently got the Deacle Lamb Kiwanis Circle K Scholarship. Amber McNur, who's majoring in foreign languages, will graduate in December and go on to be a teacher. Lucas Frank, who will graduate, go to UGA, major in business management, and own his own business. Harley Strickland at our Statesboro campus, who's our current Miss Georgia. And Whitney Heath, our Student Government Association president and member of our women's softball team, who I also predict will end up at the Terry College of Business at the University of Georgia. There are so many other students, and the message is we believe in all of you. We believe also in the dedicated and outstanding faculty and staff at this college. Do you know that 38 faculty and staff members earned their first degree at East Georgia State College, and they've now come back to contribute to the community that made that possible? There's faculty like Trey Drummer, who went to high school right here in our community. He earned his East Georgia State College degree. He went on and he earned his degree at Georgia Southern. And then he returned to teach math at East Georgia. Imagine if we could replicate that pattern over and over. Inspire our young people to attend college, give them a great start at East Georgia State College, and then see them return to serve our community. At 10 a.m. this morning, we were honored to host Pete and Adalee Carell and to honor their creation of the Carell Scholars Program. I believe this gift will be the beginning of the attainment of that very important vision. The program will allow us to offer 20 renewable scholarships of $5,000 each year beginning in fall of 2015. This $900,000 gift will create the capacity to graduate 100 young people who can change the future of this region. We know that this program, along with the other efforts of the college and the community, will even further grow the already dramatic impact of the college on the region. Please join me in thanking Pete and Adalee Carell for this transformational gift. And thanks to all of you for enduring my PowerPoint presentation and for spending time with me to think collectively about the future of the college. Now, I suggest that we just simply roll up our sleeves and let's just get it done. Thanks, everyone.